Okay, I'm starting my drive to San Antonio. We're here at a light on the island, waiting for a green arrow. This is full self-driving 12.3.6. It wasn't seeing the, it didn't see that green arrow there because it's kind of cockeyed, kind of blocked, but so I just kind of nudged it to go there. It's not seeing the speed limit signs on highways still. This is kind of a navigation, but yet a vision problem. It's only on the highways when it is really foggy, which are hazy, like today. I mean, the weather looks good, but there's this haze. So the skies aren't blue, they're kind of grayish. That over there. And I found this has a problem seeing the speed limit signs on highways, not interstates. Just these back highways or country roads where the speed limit exceeds 65 miles per hour. Anything under 65 it does seem to see. So I anticipate it not seeing the speed limit signs on 281 up through here where we're going. It's a long drive. Head to the Alice supercharger. This is a 2 hour and 45 minute trip. If I pull up the chart here, it is assuming that we're going to have 34 miles of range left when we get to Alice for supercharging. It's relatively flat, so the chart is fairly smooth. There's some braking here and there, so you get some regen there. And it's funny how it says excessive acceleration consumes more energy. Well, I'm using full self-driving, so it is handling the acceleration. So we'll see how close we get. It's saying 14%. Sometimes it's going to want to reroute through Kingsville. We will be okay. There was talk about having options for the charging to say how low you want it to go. Because sometimes when it gets to 15, it's less than 15%, it starts trying to reroute to a supercharger that will get you there with more than 15. And there's a boat propeller in the road. I would hate to hit that with a car. I don't know. I wasn't in that lane, so it didn't have to avoid it, but that would be kind of bad to hit. I didn't know if the occupancy network showed anything of it. So now it's kind of fluctuating. It's now saying 15% by the time I get there. So it's constantly trying to compute everything. I'm going to try to keep the temperature around 70, 72. That usually gets the best range, mainly because that's what they try to keep the battery at. So anytime you change it below 72 or above 72, it makes the car work a little harder to keep the cabin temperature at your desired temperature. The keyboard on the dash is for my laptop. My laptop down here. Mouse over here for it as well. Whenever I'm parked, I have these X-Rail Air glasses to project the screen's monitor, so I'm going to have to pull the laptop out. That way I can sit there and work on my pictures and videos when on the road. Doing 60 average here, which is a good speed. I have it set for auto max. Sometimes I will switch it over to where I will set the speed. But whenever I'm doing drives like this, I like to leave it in auto max. That way I can tell when it switches from this to a highway interstate mode, because then that disappears. It's still going to prompt me every now and then, keep hands on the steering wheel, just looking for the resistance. I usually will rest my hand loosely on the top of the yoke or down here, depending on what feels comfortable at the time. And I'm always ready to take over. I kind of keep my legs somewhat crossed, but if I kick it out, it'll go straight to the brake. I have driven 100,000 miles in a year. This one here, we have now reached a total of 230,626 miles, and still climbing. On TeslaFSD site, as far as Model 3 goes, I have the highest range on TeslaFSD site. I'm sure someone's going to try to catch up eventually, but I keep putting miles on this thing. I've had no issues. Battery's still good. This one here is a 2018 Model 3 long range with performance boost and the full self-driving. When I bought it, it had a rated range of 280 miles on a full charge. That was 2 years ago. It had 26,000 miles on it. The previous owner, which I think was the Dallas showroom, I think they used it as a loaner, never charged it above 80. So what I did when I got it, I charged it up to 100 a few times to rebalance the batteries and everything, which you really should do every now and then. I actually bumped that up from 280 to 290 on a full charge. And it's a little hard, but it's okay. Shouldn't run a light as it is, and there's nobody behind me. It might not have braked that hard if someone was behind me. I've had it run a light a few times when someone was behind me. But now what I was saying, I was able to bump it up to 290 miles of range by doing a rebalancing of the battery. I had to do that several times in a row as it slowly went up each time. I am currently at, once I hit 230,000 miles, I did a full charge last night, and I came up with 260 miles. So you can say I lost 30 miles or just 20 miles from what it was rated at when I bought it. That's not too bad. I am still at the same full charge range as I was last year at 170,000 miles. So I really haven't seen much change in that. And I can look through TeslaFSD site, and if I go over, where's my TeslaFSD? I can't really look for it right now. But it will, if I look under my software updates, it will show me what my range was at each update, full charge range. Now this is going to keep going up through Los Fresnos. I did notice when I was going to the airport yesterday on this version, it still doesn't like to slow down aggressively. And in areas like Los Fresnos, it needs to. I mean, it's a speed trap. So I definitely don't want it going too fast through there. This is kind of interesting. You say I can go through McAllen and only add a few extra minutes, but that would be extra miles as well. But I will keep with this. did do a camera calibration yesterday, since it's been quite a while. I do use automatic car washes a lot, and sometimes my left-hand fender camera is not completely flush like it should be. So hopefully that, calibrating the cameras every now and then is a good thing. And with all the driving I do, the roads are rough. You don't know what might wiggle loose a little bit. It's not like the cameras are knocking around or anything, but you never know. I'm thinking about doing a camera recalibration maybe every season. It doesn't take long. It's in the menu. You just go under, the menu down to service. It's located down here under service, and you scroll down, and there's camera calibration. It's only available when you're in park. It'll erase the camera data, and then you can drive for a little while. For me, it's about 10, 11 miles. I drive across the bridge twice, and it's done. And then once it calibrates the cameras the first time, it gets to 100%, then it needs some more data before you can re-enable the full self-driving. I do have this safety restraint foam. This is for the middle rear passenger seat belt. That buckle that comes up, the customers kind of tug on it quite a bit, twist it and what have you, and the wire is becoming disconnected from the sensor. I need to see about ordering another one, either through Tesla or get something off of eBay from a crash site. From a crashed Tesla. To replace that. Since that middle one actually sticks up and is not rigidly mounted like the other two are, just moving it back and forth, that anytime you wiggle a wire constantly, it's going to eventually break. So that's just the way copper is. And doing Uber and Lyft, it's so many customers in and out. It's a lot more heavily used than most people's. And of course, with me doing 200,000 miles in 2 years, I drive quite a bit. I'm going past the 45. I mean, it sees these signs, and this is fine. These are good. It's visualizing them. I'll show them over here. We come up to 55 mile per hour speed limit sign. It's showing right there. It's visualizing it. The UI just kind of paused there, but it did recognize it. I'm not sure why the UI paused or stalled, but as long as it saw the sign, that's good. Now, for the UI pausing and stuff, that is okay. It is not the full self-driving computer itself. Over there, but they're more inland right now. Now, right now there's no rain. Everything looks nice and clear. A little bit gray and overcast. Latest version does seem to slow down a little bit earlier for stoplights and stuff, a little smoother. It's not as jerky as 11 was. up here, U.S. Coast Guard boat. I guess he's going up towards Ports Mansfield or someplace. I'm not sure. In case you didn't know, I am a U.S. Coast Guard veteran. I was in the Coast Guard back in the 80s. I was stationed in Chicago, Lake Michigan, search and rescue. I was hoping for Hawaii, but I got Chicago. It was a good service. I definitely recommend if anybody's looking to join any military branch, look into the Coast Guard. Okay, it's passing this slower vehicle. There is a 55 speed limit sign. It is showing it. It is visualizing it. We have passed it. And of course, we know we don't have any issues with the 55s. Now I can, hit the X and turn off the blind spot monitor. It'd be kind of nice if I can speak. I do speak English. It'd be nice if it can remember a position for the blind spot cameras. Like when I have this full screen, I would like the blind spot down here. But when I have the map over here, I would like the blind spot up over here. It'd be nice if it would remember those positions for that. Here we come to this first 65 mile per hour speed limit sign. It should be showing up over here, but nothing is showing here. But it is switching to a highway interstate mode, but the wrong speed. I'm going to disengage. Wrong speed, miss speed limit sign. And let's see who the spammer is. Hello? 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 Okay. One of many scam calls. I get a lot of Medicaid, Medicare scam calls. But yeah, it's not seeing that speed limit sign, and it's not getting it from the nav data or anything, but it knows where the highway interstate mode switches. And this is the issue I had. 11, it worked fine. 11, it would see it. It's just 12. It's gotten really annoying where it's not seeing that speed limit sign anymore. And it's not just this road, but it's also the road between the Brownsville Airport and the island as well. It's the highways. This type of road here, not an interstate, but what's considered a highway. Then it has that issue. On the interstates, it doesn't have the issue. It should visualize this guy walking on the road. Yeah, it is visualizing. So now I don't know why it's not seeing those signs. It is not a safety critical error. I disengaged just to do a voice report of that. Now right now we have both the headlights and the fog lights on, so it thinks it's getting dark or it's raining. They really don't need to be on. So I would expect maybe a windshield wiper here shortly might show up. What I was saying, it does prompt every now and then for input on the steering wheel. Let's go over here to the map here easily. I have seen some, what we used to call phantom braking, but usually they're in areas like this where it seems like something in the map data is saying the lane shift, maybe a lane was closed for construction or something, and it's stuck in that data, so the car might slow down for that. Hasn't been an issue right at this spot. A little further up, I will usually feel a little bit of a tap right through here, but not major. the road between the island and the Brownsville airport, there's a spot where it insists on getting down to 58 miles per hour. Still existing nav data in the system that is messing it up. Again, not safety critical. Nothing to really worry about. But it's an annoyance. Now here we come up to another 65 mile per hour speed limit sign. Nothing is showing, nothing is visualizing, it's not seeing it, it didn't register it. And I'm pretty sure you should have seen that in the video too, it's very clear. And it's not like they moved those signs, they've always been there. Anybody else is down in this area, Boca Chica, coming down here for a launch or something, and you have a Tesla with full self-driving, this version, let me know if your car is seeing it. This is a 2018. Yeah, I'm on hardware 3. It'd be nice if someone else had a similar one to see if it was that. Nice to see if hardware 4 is definitely seeing it or not. If so, let me know. The channel that you're watching this on is Mars Embassy. I primarily try to watch SpaceX, but waiting for them to do something. It's been so foggy and overcast, we haven't been able to see SpaceX at all for a while from the hotel, from the island. Waiting on the next flight coming up, test flight. Hopefully it won't be when I need to go back up to Austin this month. Hopefully it'll be before that or after that. Because I definitely want to get more pictures of that and try to film that. I'm sorry that I don't do much commentary about SpaceX on the channel. I do know quite a few of the engineers, and I talk to them a lot, and they talk to me a lot, and I do not pass on anything they tell me, because a lot of it is not public knowledge, and they enjoy being able to talk about it, and it's nice that they can talk about it and know that I will not pass it on. Start doing commentary on the channel, I'm afraid I might accidentally slip and say something I shouldn't. But now, like I was saying, they recommend you always keep your hand on the steering wheel and always be ready to take over. I actually think that is more dangerous. Dan O'Dowd will say differently. What I believe is if I have my hands on the wheel ready to take over at any time, and if something is going to hit my car and my car is trying to react, I might inadvertently disengage full self-driving, allowing the accident to happen because I stopped the wheel from turning like it was trying to turn. So I feel that is dangerous. Because if the car needs to react, I might not have time to sit there and figure out why it's reacting. The car has 8 cameras. It sees everything that's going on around, even behind me, beside me. If it jerks the steering wheel, it takes me more time to turn around and look and try to see why it is doing it. I've said, I've done 200,000 miles. It has never tried to kill me. It's never done anything dangerous. We get nervous because we are not in control. And the car might do things that we normally wouldn't have done, but, in the 4 years that I've been driving Teslas with autopilot and full self-driving, my car has only hit one curb once. And that was 3 years ago, and it was just by like an inch. It's never done that again. It's gotten fairly close. And when I review it after looking at the dash cam footage, it was further away than I thought it was. But it just felt close to me. Now we're coming up to a 60 mile per hour speed limit sign. And it does see that sign. It did visualize it. And it also switched off of the highway interstate mode. We're also coming up to Los Fresnos here. This is actually a pretty well-known speed trap in town. It's a small town on this road. So it will need to really slow down up here. Once we get to the 45. It goes from 60 straight down to 45. We have a warning sign of 45 coming up. So I'm just going to disengage full self-driving since the scroll wheel doesn't do anything, just to get the speed to drop down and re-engage here. So needs a decreased speed for a small town. And I'll drop it down to 40 because it goes from 45 down to 38. So luckily it's not a rapidly increasing speed here. Or 35, not 38, I mean. So now we're into 35. I mean, it's seeing these signs, but it's only when it switches into that highway interstate mode, which I'm pretty sure is not an old stack. I think it's pretty much, because, like I said, version 11, it didn't have that issue. So it can't be using version 11 stack for the highway mode. And again, it has seen those signs on crystal clear days when there's no cloud coverage. And usually with the sun behind me. Now, it visualizes the street sign when you're passing a street sign. We have a road sign over here. There's no visualization for that. So it only visualizes what it can identify. And I do think it's kind of funny that whenever, a car blocks its view and the cars disappear, it'd be nice if it would kind of keep it there and project this is where it should be, to let it know that it is anticipating that, that car is passing in front, not that it just disappeared because it can't see it anymore. We do that personally, we do that subconsciously more than anything. When we're watching traffic, and a vehicle's blocking our view, we remember there was a car passing, we gotta wait, where's that car? When the view gets blocked, we are anticipating where that car will be after it passes that point. That's something that the full self-driving computer doesn't do, or doesn't show it does it. Now it sees the 45 sign. See, it shows that there, and it's showing the sign. The car does not read the signs. There is no OCR software in it. It's doing a matching. So, I mean, if they change this 55 mile per hour speed limit sign to a 58 mile per hour speed limit sign, it probably won't recognize anything at all. But it sees that was 55. You visualize that. It's matching it. There are different ways to match it. It can do quick and dirty, which I mean, you have this sign and this percentage of it is black as opposed to white. So if all of them have that same percentage, it should be this, because each number takes up a certain amount of space. The car is passing this other vehicle since it was slower, even though he was getting ready to signal to get out of the way. It's visualizing the people and everything. There's a couple orange cones here. When it's in the regular lane, it doesn't show that on the visualization. I don't think it shows garbage cans anymore either. There's another 55 sign over here off the side of the road. It's crooked, but it's still seeing it. Now we're coming to 60 mile per hour speed limit sign. Still won't be going into the highway mode, only 65 and above. But there's the 60 mile. It kind of disappeared, but it still saw it and adjusted for it. Steering wheel nag every now and then. Our estimated battery when we get to Alice has been fluctuating from 17 down to 13 to 17. It's still trying to, compute my current driving efficiency, the weather, and everything else. It'll be nice. I think I have my full self-driving in chill mode. It'll be nice if we can, ask it for an efficiency mode to stretch the mileage as much as possible. We're still in a 60 here. And speaking of that, it's gone up to 18%. If I go and pull up Waze out of curiosity, yeah, it's showing a 60 for this. As far as that's the way I look at Google's map data. It shows it the proper speed for this area. Now it's saying 18%, so I guess I'm doing pretty good on my efficiency. Look at stats here. Stats, another, being in the IT field all my life, I keep using all different types of apps and stuff. It's saying I'm driving about 94% efficiency, so I'm doing pretty good today. The weather's good. It's not too hot outside. It's around 84 degrees. And it's wanting to pass this slower vehicle. We have this big blue truck coming up behind us here. So it's passing. So that was good, and should have waited for that truck, and it did. Very nicely. We have 2 hours to go to get to the Alice supercharger. now and then for little shorts and what have you, or smaller videos from it. I have a lot of pictures to edit on my laptop. I'm running out of space. I really need a new laptop, but I just don't want to spend that money. The money I'm looking at spending for one is over $7,000. I mean, it's outrageous. Once you get into the Apple ecosystem, it's kind of hard to get out of it. And I really need something that will really kick ass and crunch stuff a lot quicker. I mean, it is a MacBook Pro, but it's still using the old M1, so it's not the newer chip. It also only has 1 terabyte hard drive and just 16 gigs of RAM. And the one I'm looking at getting is a beast, and I think it should run 10 to 100 times better, and I'd be a lot happier with it. I just need the extra money for it. Now, like I said, we're here, not on the highway interstate mode. It's seeing everything up to 65 or 60 mile per hour speed limit signs on this road. Now we're getting on the interstate. It's switching over. It's pulling 45. That's probably from a little bit of navigation data looked at, since there's no sign there. As we're coming up with the on-ramp to the interstate, it's using nav data, recording 70. It hasn't switched to interstate highway mode yet. We're still on the on-ramp. We have a car on the shoulder of the road. It's using the full on-ramp merge to get over. It's now in the interstate mode. And it's looking like it wants to get into the next lane. Running to do 74 in the 70. That's acceptable. It's about what the flow of the traffic is doing. You know, sometimes it's getting the speeds from nav data. Other times it's from the signs. And I can say it's from the signs because sometimes it won't switch speeds if I'm passing a speed limit sign and say this truck was in the way blocking it, so it doesn't see the sign, so it won't adjust for it. We have a 65 mile per hour speed limit sign coming up here, right up on this corner here. Let's see, it does visualize it, it does show it, it does adjust for it. So it is seeing it on the interstates, but just not on those highways. Why is that? The weather's the same, the background's the same. What's the big difference? Here we have another 65 sign. Let's see if it visualizes that. Here are the construction vehicles. We got the vehicles there, and it sees the sign. It visualizes the sign. It's seeing them on the interstates, but just not on those highways. Now, is it actually looking at that and saying, oh, we have a speed limit sign there? Or is it looking at nav data saying there should be a speed limit sign here? Start looking for the speed limit sign. Because there goes another 65 sign. And it sees it. It visualizes it. There's a 45 on the shoulder, on the service road over there. It doesn't show that, which is good. It's too far to really worry about it. I don't mind getting down to a supercharger with 4 or 5% battery. I get the very fastest charging at that speeds. And here comes another 65, but this car might be in the way for it. No, it's seeing it, so he didn't catch up yet. Yeah, it visualized. It's on the 65 sign there too. I'm kind of obsessed about these signs right now. Why is it seeing these but not the other ones on the highways? And when we get up here, we're going to be going back on some of the highways from our route going to Alice. So we won't be on this interstate for too long. Nice looking RV for sale for $19,500. See a lot of Cybertrucks in the area. Commonplace that I don't even notice them anymore. Also, this morning when I was going across the bridge, I got passed by looked like a brand new BMW Roadster, electric Roadster. And there's that 65 way off over there, and it saw that and visualized that. That BMW was all electric. I did save some dash cam footage of it. I do have it in chill, so the car is not going to go and pass this other car up here in front of us as aggressively as it would. Which is okay. I'm not in a huge rush, and it's taking its time. It will stretch my efficiency and make it easier. Try to see if we have a zero intervention drive. Even though I did disengage to report the speed limit on that, I can't do that all the time because it's all too frequent. Here's the 65 kind of off khaki on the road here. It's visualizing that. Like I say, it sees almost every one of the speed limit signs on the interstate. I really want to pass one and be blocked by a truck. would be nice for the Tesla to be able to, identify the vehicles a little better. I mean, it sees them. It doesn't identify the make and model. What I would love for it to do is construction vehicles, especially ones carrying dirt or rocks or what have you. Let's not stay behind them. Let's get around them or fall far enough back behind them. I have a lot of cracks in my windshield. It's nonstop. And all of it's going through these construction areas. I'm sure on this trip here, I would at least hear once or twice a rock hitting somewhere on the car. My hood is really, the paint's, I can see the aluminum on the hood. Okay, I can ceramic wrap it and what have you, but I drive way too much. I don't have to get that wrap changed quite often, and it'll be costly. If you drive as much as me, you get used to, the car is going to see that. The car is going to get that. And a lot of people I drive doing Uber and Lyft, they're shocked that this is a 2018 Tesla. They say it looks brand new. They're shocked that I have over 200,000 miles. It looks brand new. Even the fabric up around the top of the head, it's intact. It's not sagging or anything. We're still on track for our regular route. Just want to make sure it's not trying to reroute again. It's annoying sometimes that it will reroute or change its route. I want to go this route. I don't want it changing the route. And sometimes the car, it's driving, so sometimes it has a mind of its own. Tip in Uber. Where was that from? I've seen several tips. This one here just came in from a ride from where was that from? That was from yesterday. Okay. This one came in from yesterday as well. Okay. So yeah, all the tips coming out a day later at night. You see in the cones here, even though they're on the service road, not up here. It's still visualizing it. It's not visualizing the road over there too well. Now the on ramp. But I do notice when it visualizes some of those, like the orange barrels, it shows more cones than what is actually there. So I don't know if it's adding extra cones because it's the barrel or what it's doing in the visualizations. Now I remind you, the visualization is just for our comfort and for our, so that we know what the car thinks it's seeing. It really doesn't need to be there. Let's go back to full screen. Now when it says chill up here, that's not my driving speed, that's my acceleration. car will do 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. I am using inexpensive road hugger tires from Discount Tires. I have done 200,000 miles on this car. I'm only on my third set of tires. Still have good tread. Not using that 0 to 60 a lot helps. I'm easy on the tire. It stretches the life of the tire. Okay, now we're coming up to a 75 sign. And it already knows we're in a 75. And it visualizes that and it sees that. And let's see what our chart says here. We're now up to 47.2 miles when we get to destination. It's talking about the weather, the climate. That's probably the weather, or it could be the climate in the car. If I bump it up to 72, let's see what's going to happen for a while here. Because right now we know that we should be there about 18% battery. So I'm going to increase the temperature to 72, which I believe is the optimal temperature for range and efficiency. So we'll give it a while and find out how it looks. It'd be nice if we had the options to put these little charts up here, sort of like a tactometer that we normally have on other cars. I personally like the temperature around 68. I like it cold. Girlfriend hates that, so a lot of times when I'm driving her, I have to split the temperature, which makes the car work a little harder. This model, I can't turn off the passenger vent. The newer ones you can, which she would love. To turn off her side, just leave it here. That way I'm not wasting the energy trying to heat or cool that side. Just my side. And she would be more than happy with that. Let's go back to full screen here. Voice command to tell the car to return the seat to a position would be nice. And if you hold the left scroll wheel, you can bring up a menu. Right now I can change the acceleration, but hit left, I can go and change through. Choose save dash cam, brightness, windshield wiper feed, fan speed, temperature, none, defrost, dome lights, open glove box. Camera. So if you hit that, it shows the cameras. So as you go to close, it doesn't return it back to the full screen of the map like it was. It's nice you can use that scroll button for that. It'd be nice if I could do that for like the seat positions, because if I move the seat way too far back, I have to lean forward, which is no big deal, but usually if I want to move the seat, I have to start a movement, then go and hit restore, and I restore the seat to where it was before. And I'll save that position. It was a little more comfortable right here. Also, for my seat here, I really need to replace that buckle as well. When it gets in certain positions, I get that restraint error as well. And that's because the sensor for the latch on the buckle. That wiring is it sees it as buckle. I think it's more the pressure sensor in the seat. Because if I shift my position, then it will go off every now and then if I shift it in the right area. I've heard people say that, oh, Tesla wants to replace the entire seat. It's actually a pad in the seat that can be replaced. It's just trying to get that part. When you take the seat apart, it's actually in there. I can envision a day with the way this is going, just to be able to kick back and actually go to sleep while the car does the driving for you. Now here's a 75 sign, but it's kind of covered by the other sign. It's actually seeing it. It visualized it and it saw it. Even though that other sign was partially covering it. It still makes me wonder why it's not seeing it on the other roads, the highways. We'll see that when we get off of here, as we get in a section like that. As long as the car doesn't reroute. And I'm going to keep it down to here. Here comes another 75. It's actually visualizing it. There. Okay. And like I was saying earlier about the rocks, you can hear them hitting the windshield here. Looks like they're getting ready to repave this road. It's a lot louder right now. It's not raining, but there we have windshield wipers going off. It is cloudy. It's overcast. For some reason it thought it needed to do the windshield wiper. Now there could be something that hit the camera that it needed to wipe away or near there. A bug, but I don't see any other bug splatters yet. Comes another 75 sign. It should, it's visualizing it, and so it is seeing the signs on the interstates. We're 7 miles from our exit. 4.5. Now I do drive more than the average person. I drive a hell of a lot. And I have to say I do use full self-driving almost exclusively. Even if I don't tell it where to go, I still engage full self-driving and let it do the driving. And I have to say, very, very, very rarely do I have any interventions or where I have to intervene. I don't get into any crazy situations. I've had a few places where it's similar to Chuck Cook's left turn. It handles it good. Had some even worse than that. And, you know, it's hard to say. Even when Chuck has to take over, it's because of his comfort level. He doesn't know if it's going to keep going or not. We don't know what the car is thinking, and that is the biggest problem we have, is that we're guessing what the car is going to do. I'm not saying go trust it completely blindly and just let it go. But it would be nice to know a little feedback. Is like, oh yeah, I reported this, it didn't feel like it was going to stop. It'd be nice to know, well, looking at the data, it was going to stop in 1 foot or 6 inches. Yeah, it'd be nice to know exactly what the car was going to do. Or if, like, yeah, that was a problem, it missed something, you know. Because in earlier testings, especially with the full self-driving, with it at the end of the drive, in some areas it actually pulls into a parking space. And, you know, one time I thought it was kind of pulling into where another car was, and I thought it was going to hit that car, and I intervened. Another time it was doing the exact same thing. I decided not to. I was going to wait to the very absolute last second, and it stopped. You know, I had to back up and get in the right spot. But, you know, that just tells me the time before it probably would not have hurt to hit the car, and it was just me unsure taking over. And sorry about the loud road noise. Like I said, I have cheaper tires. They are a little bit noisier than EV tires, but with the amount of driving I do, I can't afford to replace my tires very frequently, and a lot of the EV tires don't last as long as these tires do. And, you know, the price difference I've seen them is just outrageous. And for all 4 of these tires, I paid a total of $740. And that's for the mounted, balance, rotated, and road hazard insurance on them. Or road hazard insurance on them. And the car is getting up to our exit. Slowing down to 55, and sees that sign, it switches to it. It already switched down to 55 from nav data, but it also visualized it and showed the sign there too. A little bit smoother on the braking for the stop signs, especially as opposed to previous versions. 11. I don't know what that little jerk was for. But it might have thought it saw something. Okay. A lot of tractors, a lot of farming equipment out this way. It sees that 55 sign, it visualizes it. Rubber tracks up here. Let's see how this handles it. Got one of these blackbirds. They're called gherkins. Just kind of strutting around the street. waiting for that truck to clear the intersection. Okay, now we're coming up to a 65 mile per hour speed limit sign. And no, nothing on there. And it switched to highway mode. So, yeah, we're on a highway again. 65 mile per hour speed limit sign. Clear as day. It did not visualize it. It did not show it. That's because we're on one of these highways. And it still thinks we're in a 55. Same drive, same weather condition, nothing has really changed. Nav data, the car thinks we're in a 55. I'll look at Waze. It says it's a 65. So Waze believes the 65 zone. Now, since we increased to 72, let's see how this is looking. It's recommending to stay below 70 miles per hour. Climate. So it's hard to tell. I'll really have to sit down and look at those numbers one day and figure out exactly. Braking there, I'm not sure. Oh, okay. It's coming up to its turn. That's why it was braking. Okay. So now it's thinking 65. Don't know where I got that from. Now 55. Sees the sign, it visualizes it. If it saw a 65 sign back there or if it grabbed nav data from somewhere. Interesting corner up here. I've never been down this particular road that I recall. I think normally it goes further down and cuts over. For some reason this one is going a little bit sooner and cutting over. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this intersection looks like. You can just turn left there. I don't know, right? Yeah, you can just turn left here. I don't know about this going out to this other road. I don't see an overpass. Let's have fun and see what the car does. Right here, it should go ahead and get it. Okay, it's getting, no, it's going to go straight. But why? That's dumb nav data right there. Let's see what it does. It's going straight. It's following the nav data. It could have just made a left there. The road it wants to turn here, there is no road here. There is nothing there. So this is navigation data. The car is confused. I'm going to have to take over here. I'm going to take over and just have it turn around. But yeah, this is the issue of nav data, and this is a very skinny road. So yeah, it should have went ahead and made that left turn. Oh, a red-winged blackbird, 2 of them. Okay, so we're going to turn around here. I'm going to go ahead and re-engage it here. It's going to try to look for this road. It's not going to see it. I don't know why it's driving on the white line. I don't know why it thinks there's a road there, but there isn't. So this is an issue of navigation data. So it looks like it is going to go ahead and make this correct turn here. No, it thinks it can't make the turn here. This is a nav issue. I'm going to force the turn. Navigation data issue. This is just... Sometimes it does a great job visually. Okay, it's... Thanks to the 75, there's a 65 sign. It's not visualizing the 65. But it thinks we're in a 75 from nav data. So I'm going to slow it down. So yeah, still navigation data issues. I did have to take over. If it would have went the other route it usually goes, I would have no issue at all. That's something that the visualization should have been able to figure out. But it wasn't able to. These are the edge cases. If I was asleep then, it probably would have gotten me back on route, but who knows where it would have went or how it would have gone about it. Because it didn't try to turn onto a road that didn't exist. It decided to keep going once it realized it didn't exist and started rerouting and planning a new route, which is the proper thing to do. But even there, that intersection where it didn't want to turn right but wanted to go straight to get back on the road, it was rerouted to go up and around and then come over here, which would have been the way I usually would have came, and then get back onto this road right here. I didn't like the way that truck was pulling out. That was kind of excessive. It should have been smoother. This is the first time for me driving this route on this particular version of the software. And I'm trying not to, intervene at all in the car. So, letting it speed up the way it wants to. There was nobody behind me, so it was okay. I'm eating an apple. Apple a day. Good for you. It's no longer on the highway interstate stack. It thinks we're in a 55 zone now. But we're actually in a 65 or 75. If I look at Waze, it's going to say 75. So let's grab nav data of a 55, which doesn't exist here. But it is wanting to do 65, so it's okay right now. signs here and a person working. We're still at 75. It still thinks we're doing 55. There have been no other speed limit signs. They really should have a speed limit sign after each major road intersection. In this case, I have it on auto max, so I can't scroll up or scroll down to change the speed. I can hit the accelerator, but I don't want to do that. If I do that, let's get up to 70. And I'm going to hold it around 70 here for a few seconds. And now let off. Okay. So it's slowly slowing back down. Not going to hold a 70 for me, but it is going faster than 65, doing 68. on, but went straight across when it could have turned. Oh, here we come with 75 sign. Should show up. No. It totally ignored the sign. Intersection. Maybe if I would have gave it a left-hand turn signal, it would have done it and not cross. I don't know. If I had time, I would try stuff like that, but have a long trip today. So yeah, holding the accelerator down, it did help me increase the speed above 65, but it didn't get it to go up to 70. Well, it's doing 69 now, so I don't know. I was doing 70, well, it's clear, so it's doing what it feels is safe. Highway 188. It's now doing 71, so it's creeping up there, but we are in a 75 mile per hour speed limit zone. Temperature back down to 68 and see how that's going to affect. Right now is anticipating 14% when we get there. 36.8 miles. Plenty of range, actually. No big real issue. We could probably, if we wanted to, you know, push it to 3 corners or 3 rivers, I mean. Dropping the temperature to where, you know, I feel comfortable with 68 degrees. I make it cooler. Even though we're not on the highway interstate mode of the software, it ignored that 75 mile per hour speed limit sign. On the visualization, you can't see it on the blue, but the arrows in the road are showing up once you pass it. So now at least seeing the arrows in the road before. Last time I came on this route, I actually stopped at this convenience store up here. I think it's right up here, to use the bathroom. And then when I came back, it started to want to reroute back to the other Kingsville supercharger and not continue to Alice, just because I stopped. I don't understand why, when it was still closer for me to go to Alice. I guess whenever you put it into park, it starts recalculating things and wants to do differently there. It's slowing down, which is good for this corner coming up, since we do have a turn. So this road up here that it's going to is not an interstate yet. It's a future interstate, 64 or 69. But it's considered an expressway, highway. Navigation data is telling us 75, so it's doing 79. So I grabbed that from navigation data. But let's see if it sees any signs whenever we have a sign coming up. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit. Miles from San Antonio. Pull this chart up. With the 75 mile per hour speed limit sign right here. Nothing showing up on the visualization. It's not an interstate. Even though it's on the highway interstate mode, why is it not seeing or visualizing these speed limits? Also, on this trip here, it is estimating at 25 minutes to charge. I will probably spend maybe 15. Didn't like me looking away from the road long enough to pull that up. So you can tell the visualization, the camera watching me, does work. It's still kind of preferring to be in the left-hand lane here. Now, I've had issues with this before, being in the left-hand lane on this stretch of road, that for some reason it will, like coming up here, it will try to jump into this left-hand turn-only lane, where it should be going straight. Not every one of them, but every now and then it would. And usually just hitting the turn signal cancels that, but why it does it, I don't know. I have to assume navigation issue, navigation data. It did it in the previous version. Let's see if it does it in this version. Interesting, see if it does do it in this version. Braking there. Big bug splatter. Big bugs. Exactly which one it was. It wasn't all of them. It was just every now and then it would jump over. Now technically it should get back into the right-hand lane because we're not passing. But we are slowly creeping up on this semi. nice if the Tesla could start doing is watch out for tire debris. That's a lot for the car to be watching out for. You got to figure every frame it sees to have to analyze it for everything. Speed limit signs, tire debris, items in the road. You're asking the computer to do quite a bit. Hardware 3 might have a harder time doing it. Hardware 4 might have the processing power to be able to analyze the images better. Surface and say, oh, the surface looks different. Well, that could be a shadow from a cloud. It could be just some spilled tar, some spilled paint. So to be able to identify exactly what it is or exactly if it's a hazard or not is not easy to do. It's easy for us, but do so much more, and our brain processes things a lot quicker. And even then, we've been driving and go to dodge something in the road, and as we pass it, we're trying to figure out what the hell it was. We don't know what it was, we just know we needed to dodge it. It doesn't have to exactly identify it. It just needs to know to avoid anything in the road. Now I noticed that I think it was Dirty Tesla was doing his tests of different things on his YouTube channel, and one thing he had was the shades that he put in the road to see if it would run over it. And yeah, the car went over it, but the tires did not run over it. So did it just know it was low enough that the car would pass over it without interfering? And that was acceptable? I mean, if there's something in the road and the car is high enough off the ground that it's going to pass over and clear it, you have it go between the tires. The bottom of the car is flat, so that would be an acceptable thing. You know, if there's something in a road, a bag or a box, if it's low enough to go under the car, yeah, I'll straddle it. I'll have it go in between the tires. And maybe he might want to look into that. So even though it was in the road, the physical tires did not roll over it. And it was low enough to go underneath the car. Now, so far I've had 0 attempts for it to get in the left-hand lane, so that may have been fixed in this update. Currently on North Highway 281. Another 75 sign, nothing showing up on the visualization, but it's still getting in the nav data. driving. It's still recommending to stay below 70 miles per hour, but that's okay. We have plenty of range. A lot of people say, oh, but you got to stop your car and charge every now and then. Well, you got to stop your car and put gas in it too. But, we're looking at almost 3 hours here that I've been driving, or going to be driving, got another hour to go. And it's not bad to stop and stretch your legs every now and then. You shouldn't just sit there all day and not move, not get up and stretch your legs. It's funny how sometimes when I'm driving, my Apple Watch will say time to stand up. It's like, I'm driving. It should know that I'm moving. I'm in a vehicle. I can't just stand up while I'm driving. But yeah, so far this ride does seem a lot smoother. It's still missing the speed limit signs. It's not jumping into these left-hand turn lanes like it did before. At least not yet. Bugs hitting the windshield make me blink. There's a big coming in. I have had a whole lot less windshield wiper going off for no reason. So that to me is an improvement. I can guarantee you that on any of my other drives, I would have had the windshield wipers going on and off every now and then by this time. Talk about. Now everybody's anticipating the robotaxi event coming up on 8/8. We still need to deal with the regulators. Dan Adele really messing with everything, putting out his basically his hit pieces against Tesla with all of his FUBAR or his FUD. Listening to him on Twitter the other day talking, I don't know what world he's living in. Yeah, it'll be nice if you can make a car never allow it to hit a person, even if you're holding down the accelerator yourself. There might be a few cars out there that will do that, but I kind of feel that's dangerous. Here we have another speed limit sign coming up, 75. Nothing on the visualization at all here. It's visualizing everyone on the interstate, but on this highway, no. To be able to hit somebody if you want to? Should that be allowed? That's questionable. I mean, if I'm in an area and somebody is shooting people and I don't have my gun with me, I will use the car to hit that person. Braking for that caution light. But not like it was last year. A lot smoother, a lot better. Still, not getting out of the passing lane. I don't like that. Don't have that option in the menu anymore. But at least now it's not jumping into the left-hand on turn lanes. I'll have to try to watch my previous video for this route to see where it was doing that. If I have time. Time is my enemy. I have so much to do, and I just don't have the time to do it. Working on all these pictures of SpaceX and trying to do these videos and stuff is taking up so much space. I have to go through and clean up my NAS, but I don't have time to sit there and go through and clean up my NAS. I am sure I have tons of duplicate videos and downloads and stuff. And deleting some of that stuff will give me more space. But I just don't have time to sit there and do that. searching the car. We do have a border checkpoint coming up in a little ways. I don't know exactly where it's at. As you can see, most of the time when I'm driving, I'm just resting my hand. We're still responsible. We're still paying attention to the road and everything. And like I was saying, to be holding the steering wheel and constantly be there, I personally think that's unsafe. Because then we're restricting the car if it has to do something to avoid something. We might wind up disengaging the full self-driving because it's very easy to disengage. So the car might do something to get us out of an accident. And because we are holding the steering wheel, we wind up disengaging it. Coming up to the border checkpoint. And we're quite a many miles from the Mexican border. I'm going to go ahead and tell it to slow down. As it's moving over. Now, I will probably wind up disengaging here because I don't know if the full self-driving can actually figure out which lane to be in. We're now in the 20 zone. It sees that sign. It's adjusted for that, but it's still in the highway stack. Because right now we have 4 booths, one with a green arrow, the other 3 have exits. Will it choose the right one? It's going into the wrong one. Let's tell it to get over. It needs to be over here. So yeah, it's not looking at that, and it's wanting to switch. No, stay in this one. Okay, it is staying in this one. I don't know if it would have handled it or not. That'd have been interesting to see. But I want to disengage here for the doggy and the border area. It'll be interesting to see if this would handle it by itself. Just fine, how are you? Yes. You too. Keep up the good work. The Border Patrol, they work too hard. It's not an easy job for them. Okay, we need to go ahead and speed up. Yes, it's a 20, but let's figure it out and keep going. Should start pumping up here. Still thinks we're in a 20, but it's allowing me to increase the speed, which is okay. This speed limit sign is kind of crooked, but it's for that one ramp of 45. 45 there, it saw that. Now we have a 75 here. Will it see it? It is not visualizing any 75 or anything. It's not even grabbing the nav data, so it thinks we're in a 45. So yeah, why isn't it seeing the speed limit signs on this highway? Not interstate, highway. Again, we're currently on US Highway 281. The car itself is refusing to see the visualizations, and it's not even getting the speed right from the navigation data. It's going with the last sign it saw, which was the on-ramp sign of 45. Waze shows 75. So Waze knows the speed limit is supposed to be 75 here from nav data. So if this was a robo-taxi and I was not here to increase the speed manually, what type of safety issue would it be for it driving 45 miles per hour here? And if I let it drive 45 miles per hour, since I have it on the max, well, it's adjustable, so it's not going to go any higher than what it is. So if I was to tap on the 45, it's going to want to do 47, and it's going to try to slow down. Now, to give you a reference here, if you touch the recognized speed limit, which is the 45, and since it switched to 47, it was going by my pre-existing setting of 4% for anything over. And if it's going at any time, if you hit this here, you can set the speed to whatever it is currently at. Makes it quick and easy, just tapping to change the speed limit. Just in case you didn't know that you can do that. If I tap on the max, it's not going to do anything, but we have 42 more miles to go to the supercharger. As far as if the full self-driving would have handled that border checkpoint, I am very unsure about that. That would be something that needs to really be tested to see if it will stop and wait until the officer lets you go or what have you. Otherwise, they're going to be chasing a lot of robo-taxis blowing through that. It did not seem like it wanted to choose the proper lane. And it seemed like it wanted to get into a different lane that looked open. So if it understands the red X or the red check mark or arrow for which lane to use, that I am not sure. That's an edge case. Miles from Alice. It's a pretty decent supercharger. Never seems to be busy there. It is kind of an odd one. It's off the beaten path. Oh, in my previous video for the nav issue, this is the area where the car wanted to go straight this way and got lost on this way. But going back, it seems to be going this way. It seems to understand that. I would like to, it'd be nice to know between that version and this version if it can handle it coming back. Again, if I'm going to get that same nav issue of the speed jumping everywhere from 45 to 75 nonstop. Since it looks like it's going to take that roundabout of the town, it's nice to me to see the difference between the two. I know, I'm looking at the map. Now, of course, on with what Dan O'Dell was talking about. He was talking about how it's easy to circumvent, the nags in the car, the monitoring the driver. I won't say how you can do that, or the steering wheel nags. I won't say how to do that either. But I've been in the computer IT field since the 70s. I know a lot about cybersecurity and everything else. There is no system that you cannot trick in anything. There's always a way to trick it, no matter what you do. And this goes not just in vehicles. I mean, DirecTV had a nightmare of that, trying to find ways to keep people from pirating DirecTV. But where there's a will, there's a way. And DirecTV can just make it harder and harder. It got to the point where you actually had to use an external computer and go directly into the DirecTV system and have that computer be able to process the encryption key and get you the satellite signal you want, so you can watch your free DirecTV and what have you. It got to the point where you're spending more money on the computer than you would subscribing. And the thing is, people still did it anyway, because they just didn't like that notion that, I have to pay for something, pay a monthly fee for something. That I'm not going to argue their point or the way they figure it. It's kind of stupid the way they do that. Okay, we're on the far outside lane. We're coming to another 75 sign. It is still not seeing the sign at all. It still thinks we're on a 45, but at least it's letting me adjust because it knows we're on a highway interstate. Now it just switched to 75. So it just grabbed some nav data there. There was no sign where it switched. So it just grabbed something from nav data. Why it's not consistent and why it's all over the place is frustrating. It's still staying in the leftmost lane here. It doesn't like to be in the rightmost lane. Luckily, I've never had a ticket for it, but you can be ticketed for staying in the left-hand passing lane when you're not passing. marks over there on the far left, it is recognizing those 2 lanes as 2 actual lanes, even though they haven't done the markings for it yet. So this is where the car is looking at the width of the lanes, and there should be 2 lanes there. We just had some windshield wiper activity. It could be because of a bug hitting near the camera. As you see, I do have some bug splatters here. Rest in peace. Or pieces. Now they hit so hard with the windshield. In this type of environment, Robotaxi might have little issues with these bugs because they're very hard to clean off. Even if you have a front camera that has a wash feature, a little bit of water is not going to get some of these bug goops off. So if they hit the camera, you have to physically get out and rub them off. I don't know if you can tell where the splatters are. The windshield wipers did go, but it didn't do anything to them, basically. Here comes another 75 sign. It saw that one. So it saw that speed limit sign. Congratulations. That's the first speed limit sign it saw on this highway. And even though I have my hand on my wheel, it's going to beep because it is seeing the construction and the cones. So it'll always do that alert. We had the construction worker there, just kind of waving vehicles to slow down. The police officers. The car kind of moved over because he was leaning out. It's kind of hugging these cones a little closer than I would like. Just trying not to cross the yellow line. I actually gave a little bit too much pressure on the steering wheel there. So it was my fault for disengaging. It's trying to get into the middle. Suicide section. Suicide section, okay. Let's move it back, that's good. This I may intervene, and it's kind of trying to figure out if it wants to pass or not. The car is confused. Even though it was doing some weird stuff there, it was not being unsafe. saying that when one's coming up, thinking I might jinx myself, but so far it hasn't. That construction area, okay, it was handling it very well for a while, but then it started going back and forth, back and forth. That's one of the many edge cases. Technically, they probably should have blocked those lanes off more and allowed the center lane, the suicide lane, to be the lane to use instead of straddling a line. I'm not sure the arrow for the construction. I don't see anything in front of it. I would tell the car to slow down. We are in a work zone, and yeah, the speed is 65. Sign there, posted work zone, both sides of the road. It sees neither one of those, so it didn't visualize those at all. Now this is where I can either go straight and go through this little bitty town, or go to the right with the loop around it, where when I came back the other time, it was doing the same thing coming back, but it was all confused. So I wonder if it will work this time. Going in this direction. And before the navigation, you had it going straight, and it went over there for some bizarre reason. And is it going to... I'm going to have to signal. It's missing it. So if I didn't engage the signal, it would have been on the wrong side. So that's a navigation issue. It did not understand that. I had the same issue in McAllen, and also when it was coming back, it was in the wrong lane, and it wound up taking this route instead of going that route. But right now it's showing a speed limit of 45, and it's set auto max. At least it's wanting to do 68, so it has the wrong speed limit for this. That's a nav issue. I don't even see any signs, but at least it's going faster. When we came the opposite direction last time, this speed limit was jumping from 45 to 75, 45 to 75 from navigation data. At least this time it's not jumping, but it does have the incorrect speed. But it is doing close to 70. I do have a semi-truck behind me, so okay, it is going to move out of the lane. That's good. So it's getting out of the lane on its own after passing that semi. And I should let these other semis pass. Like I say, full self-driving is working great, but there's still navigation issues. These maps are provided by Google. Is that where they're getting the navigation data from? Or is those navigation downloads from Tesla where it gets all the drivable information from? I would love to know what's in that nav download from Tesla. Because right now, like I say, we're on the latest software build, but the navigation data is still 2023.44. So the 44th week of last year was when the last navigation data came in from Tesla. What's in that file? And what would this software version be like with a newer navigation data file? And when I stop, I want to check Tesla's site, or TeslaFi's site, and see what the newest navigation data file is. I mean, I might be able to pull up while we're driving. Now it's getting data 75. Didn't see a sign back there. Here comes the sign. So we're looking right here. You can see the sign physically, not being visualized. Yes, this is the future Interstate Corridor 69. So we're going to go to the software tracker on TeslaFi's site. Good site to look at. They get a lot of good data from everybody who signs up. It polls your car every 30 seconds. And that's when this pops up here is when your car is being pulled for data. So whenever I pull up my ride, it will show all the information in 30-second intervals for the entire drive. See, that's a pretty big push there on the current software. The current 12.3.6 is still on the 2024.3 build. So everybody who's already on the 2024.8 build, they will not be able to see any of the FSD12 yet. Tesla needs to work on that. Map updates. There is a 2024.8 map update out there. So while this is still on the 2024.3 build, we would not see those map updates for this year because the map updates are after that. So yeah, Tesla, please get the full self-driving up onto the latest build numbers so we can get the latest map data as well. Because I don't know if that map data will help or not. I don't know. That's kind of weird. This one here is 2023.44.30.14. Really old version, but he has the latest map update. But he is in Germany. So yeah, okay, I stand corrected. I don't see any US versions. Maybe the map data might fix these issues. I don't know. far from the first supercharger stop, or the only supercharger stop for my trip. It is getting near lunchtime, so I may just go ahead and charge a little longer and eat. I'm trying to remember what was at this location. I think this supercharger had it's nice, and you can see the pictures of the supercharger station and everything. Trying to remember what was there. So it's showing 10 stalls available. Means one is in use. Because it's not listing any ones that are not working. They've increased the rate. It used to be 31 cents a kilowatt. It's now 35. It's getting close to summertime, so. Windshield washer wipe on this, see if I can get anything done with these bugs, splatters. That one right there is gone, but those other two just smear. I don't know what type of bugs those are, they just are clear. Before I get going, I'm going to try to clean some of that bug off. So I only saw one speed limit sign on this road itself. The others it never visualized. And had the wrong nav data. But at least when it did that roundabout area, it had the wrong nav data, but it was going the right speed. But when I go back, it'll be interesting to see if it's going to do what it did before, or if that's been fixed. And I really need a bathroom break now, so it'd be kind of hard for me to keep going all the way to San Antonio without stopping. Unless I wear a pair of Depends. It looks like the initial estimate before we started going was about right. We will be getting there about 13% battery. And like I say, you can always adjust your driving. Stay under 70, you can increase your range. course, when we get to the supercharger, it probably won't know the parking lot like it usually doesn't. So I may have to take over once we start getting into the parking lot. But I will use the auto park, the new auto park feature of this for the supercharger stall, which I really think they need to implement that in with the full self-driving. Let it go ahead and get there and find an open stall and pull in. And it can look at the data that Tesla provides to make sure it doesn't pull into a known not working spot. So if 3B is down, don't pull into 3B. It is really kind of annoying that it doesn't know how to get directly to the superchargers when driving. When I'm pretty sure there's been a couple of Teslas there. I don't think the superchargers are ignored by everybody. Yes.
Where are you coming from?
What do you mean?
I'm headed to a driver. That's
What was that?
So where you at? Where you at? Are you on the island?
Yeah, I'm currently in Alice.
Okay. Oh wow. Joe live in Dallas?
In Alice.
Dallas?
Yes.
I need a ride.
Okay, yeah, I'm not in the area. You need to use the Uber app.
Yeah.
Yeah, if a driver's available, a driver's available in the area.
Okay. Okay. Enjoy your day.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's a guy who calls me every now and then. He needs a ride, Uber. He's usually in Laguna Vista, and they're all little $3 rides. And I, you know, if I'm in the area, I'm in the area, but I'm not in the area. But it is what it is. Sometimes he'll call and tell me to turn on the app and what have you. It'll be early in the morning. I might not even be online then. And it's like, if I'm there, I'm there. You know, it's kind of hard to go out of my way. I've actually done that a couple times. Start driving over to where he's at, and some other driver gets the ride because he's looking for a ride through Uber. And of course, it doesn't tell me, so it wasted my time to drive over there and then to drive back when I could have gotten another ride if I would have stayed on the island. It's kind of annoying. Of course, he always wants to do it through Uber, which I understand. That's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to deal with what's available in the area. That's the drawback. When you get stuff going on very slow on the island and in that area, it's kind of hard to stay on the island and to only make $3 every couple of hours. I'm trying to go and pass this. I do have it in chill, so yeah, it's going to hang back. It's not going to hurry up and pass. But I am needing to get to my destination because I need a break, a bathroom break, which is always annoying. It's like 8 minutes away. It's like, okay, hurry up. Are we there yet? I hit the supercharger there. Gas station there. I would normally jump to that, but I can wait 7 minutes. I hope. But anyway, yeah, doing Uber and Lyft on the island, not much money in it. Uber is taking more and more, and there's really no reason for them to be taking so much. It's close to 60%. They tried to say it's different, but I see what the customers pay. They tell me I can look and I can request a ride myself and see what it would be, as opposed to what they're paying. And, you know, they want to try to say a lot of it's these other regulatory fees and stuff, and not what Uber is actually getting. But it still feels really bad. They really shouldn't be taking anywhere near what they're taking when they're not doing anything. They're providing the app and the initial contact, but it's still my vehicle, my maintenance, my fuel, my electricity, my upkeep, my insurance. I have to pay more on my insurance just to do ride shares. And for them to take so much, it's really unfair the way they're doing. And everybody says, oh, well, just go drive for yourself and be your own boss and what have you. Well, yeah, then you need to get a taxi license, get regulated and all that, pay more on your insurance on that, and kind of get the word out there, or start your own app. But Uber is known. Just like when Tesla starts their robotaxi app, fine, robotaxi through Uber, or through Tesla, what have you. How long will it be until people actually know that app and start looking for the app? Everybody thinks Uber and then Lyft. Uber is first, Lyft is second. they're not going to think of all these other apps out there or other means of ride hailing and what have you. Uber's already established and well known. I kind of feel like it would be a good idea if Tesla would have bought, or Elon would have bought Uber instead of buying Twitter. But I understand what he's doing with Twitter. His feeling of freedom of speech, I agree with that. If it's taking up too much of his time, that's a different story. Okay. Only 2.6 miles to go. Notice when it started the preconditioning of the battery. But it's getting the battery ready for charging. And I don't know why it's stopping right there. That was weird. That is not a stoplight. That was a sign of a stoplight. Never did that before. Now it's going to be taking this little side road here. No lines on this road, but it's still saying to the right of it, which is good. It'd be nice if they repaved this road. I think there's a few rough spots coming up. Every town has these roads where they just patch all the time and they don't actually redo it. Yeah, it's like a really rough section of this road. No line part here for the stop light. It's waiting for an opening. And it's going. Let's see. Going past. We're getting ready to pass this car here. 35 is 1, 2, 35, 39. We're 0.2 miles away, so it needs to be in the right-hand lane. Now, will it get behind these three cars? Or will it try to fit in? truck to pass, I believe. But the truck is matching speeds. Now the truck is brought back with a car switch now. It should. I'll go ahead and signal it myself because it's not doing it fast enough for me. And it should pull into this parking lot here. It should go straight once it pulls in because the supercharger is straight ahead. But in the past, it always goes to the right. So I'm taking over here, disengaging. It should know where the superchargers are in the parking lot. Now we're going to use the self-park. These lines aren't very clear, so I'm going to pick a spot and tell it to start. The old one, you have to put it into reverse to start. This one here, you just hit start. So it makes it a little bit nicer. And it is. The self-park is slow. A person is a lot faster doing this. Auto park complete. Okay. And I'll be back in a little bit.